Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another adventure with Indiana Homes. Today we're at the Earl Burns Miller Japanese Gardens in Cal State Long Beach University in Long Beach, California. They have a beautiful koi pond here and a beautiful Japanese garden, so today we're going to go experience that together. The Earl Burns Miller Japanese Garden is a Japanese garden encompassing 1.3 acres on the campus of California State University, Long Beach, in Long Beach, California, in the USA. It was dedicated in 1981. Ed Lovell, landscape master plan architect for the university, traveled to Japan and took inspiration from the Imperial Gardens in Tokyo before designing the garden. Among the annual events held at the Japanese garden is a koi auction and a chrysanthemum show. The Japanese garden is adjacent to a site that was once the village of the Pavunga indigenous tribe of Native Americans. In the trenching for the garden, evidence of the ancient Tongva village was uncovered in the early 1970s. The garden is closed on Saturdays and on Mondays, when it is often rented out for weddings and receptions. The Japanese garden at Cal State Long Beach was built through the generosity of Mrs. Lorraine Miller Collins in memory of her late husband, Earl Burns Miller. There was 3 years of planning that went into the design and building of the garden on the campus. The garden reflects the university's continued interest in international education, student and community engagement, as well as the Millers' interests in nature and wellness. The garden is a hybrid art form that combines typical elements of the Japanese garden design within the context of the Southern California location. Lorraine and Earl Miller recognized the importance of travel and education as an art and means of self-development. Those values are reflected in the Japanese garden and through other projects they funded, including the CSULB International House, the Miller Children's Hospital, and the ongoing work of the Earl B. and Lorraine H. Miller Foundation. It's a very peaceful feeling here at the Japanese garden here on Cal State Long Beach University's campus, hidden away over by the parking lots and the student dorms. And it looks like we have an origami presentation here.
But the screen would be closed, and when he attended the tea ceremony, he would put his sword on a rack outside, and this is the door he would enter. So, they were the super.
So you were explaining about the Japanese tea ceremony?
Yes, and you correct me if I'm misspeaking here. I always, when I tell it, I pretend that I'm a samurai going into. If I say something wrong, you guys correct me. I'm going into battle the next day, and of course I'm a Buddhist. I believe in the sanctity and preciousness of life and totally against killing. So to get ready for the battle, I would come the night before, and enjoy the tea ceremony. And a samurai is never separated from his sword, except when he's doing the tea ceremony. So he would leave his sword outside on a rack, and this is the way he would enter the tea house.
I see.
And this would humble him, so he would be ready to calm himself down and meditate. And the tea ceremony, there would be a table here, and a tea master, and maybe himself or maybe a group of soldiers would be with him. But this would center him, and he would enjoy a ritual that has been going on for centuries. Exactly the same, performed the same every time. So be ready for battle, and that would be it.
Thank you so much for that information. I appreciate it.
And there's still tea houses in Japan today that offer beautiful experiences.
Very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the beautiful bamboo here around the edges of the garden really create an intimate experience. You would never know you're in Long Beach, California. You would never know you're on a college campus because it feels like you're in Japan in a beautiful garden, experiencing the history and the splendor of this type of garden. Here we can see across the garden and the water. Here we have a traditional Japanese gravel landscape garden, which is very beautiful and calming, with some of this beautiful Japanese creeping grass down here. Quite lovely. Very soothing. Some beautiful trees. Notice how this looks completely different than the last environment. We still have the bamboo, but it's cut down and kept very low over here on the right. And then we have this beautiful pine tree, sort of in a bonsai style, except much larger. And then the gravel, it's all been groomed with the Japanese crawling grass and the stones. Hi, children and parents doing some nice koi drawings and coloring. How beautiful is that?
Let a child come out.
I'll do it a little bit later. That's wonderful. That's so great. Here we can see the bridge in the distance. We'll zoom into that so you can see that a little better. Very traditional, beautiful walking bridge. Then this beautiful stone beach over here across the way, made up of large river rocks. Each area of the garden has particular landscape features that are unique and traditional, with both bamboo and other types of plants growing from the bottom of the pond. Beautiful waterfall over here. Makes such a wonderful sound. So pretty to look at and hear. Here we have an elusive and beautiful bird that is happily hanging out amongst the trees. Various forms of wildlife enjoy the park here. This is just one right here. If we look towards the center of the lake, we see a lot of these very large koi fish, some of them as long as 3 feet long, enjoying the guests and the feeding all the treats they're getting. See them swimming around down here as they do. If you're having a rough day, if you're having a rough week, this is a way to really let that tension go and really get back to nature and enjoy something in life that is somewhat rare, at least outside Japan. I mean, we do have Japanese gardens throughout the United States, but they're recreations of the real thing in Japan, and they're not as easy to find as they are in Japan. So when you have one nearby, like we do here at the University of California, Long Beach, Cal State University, Long Beach, CSULB, you really should take advantage of it. It's really great. They have all kinds of events here for families. I think you can also rent the venue if you're having a wedding or something. You'll have to check the website for that. Just do a Google search for the Japanese garden at CSULB, Earl Burns Miller Japanese Garden.
Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications button. Thank you very much.